Even though specialty coffee emerged as its own classification in the 70s, specialty coffee shops really only began showing up in a meaningful way in the early 2000s. In producing countries, this only began happening in the early 2010s. All of this is to say that North American, European, Asian countries, and Australia have had at least an extra 10 plus years to develop a huge variety of specialty coffee business models than what we see in producing countries. But very generally speaking, at the heart of the many variations of specialty coffee shop business models out there, we see two main business models that by understanding what their business is focused on primarily, we can better understand the role that specialty coffee selection and pricing has in what they do and how they do it. So now let's talk about the first business model, the specialty coffee shop. At its core is the coffee shop, which may or may not have a roastery as a supporting element. Because the revenue model of this business depends on maximizing not only the sale of their coffee beverages, but also a wide variety of many other types of menu items, it's important for these businesses to invest in specialty coffee beans that have mass appeal. And there are no coffee beverages more beloved by the masses than those made with espresso, which, as we explained in our prior video, generally tends to be a blend of coffee beans that fall in the 80 to 84 range. You'll recognize this kind of coffee shop by its focus on milk-based espresso drinks like flat whites, cortados, macchiatos, cappuccinos, and lattes that are often presented with beautiful latte art. Baristas are encouraged to be creative with recipes to maximize deliciousness, combining their espressos with milk, cream, flavor syrups that might capture the customer's attention. Some of the most creative and charismatic baristas in the world emerge from this kind of business model. This is the realm of latte art competitors. If the specialty shop offers manually brewed beverages made with single origin or micro lot beans, it tends to be a secondary aspect in their overall menu. And if they roast their own coffee, the main objective is usually to support the heart of the coffee business, which is their espresso drinks. If they also sell their roasted coffee beans, it's mostly for home consumption using medium to dark roast profiles, mostly for home espresso machines, French press, and the mocha pot, which are the most common coffee tools available at home and are ideal for the 80 to 84 range of specialty beans. These specialty coffee shops differentiate themselves from commercial coffee shops by a consistent parameter: quality over quantity. And you'll find it in the details, like the cups, plates, and flatware they use to serve you, the stylishness and engineering of their espresso machines and grinders, the freshness and creativity of their food and drink menu, and a clean, beautiful ambiance, often with plenty of seating, and that may even express the interests, values, and passions of their owners. When it comes to growth, the most common growth strategy is to open new branches and franchises. And now let's talk about the second business model, the specialty coffee roastery. At its core is the roastery, which may or may not have a coffee shop as a supporting element. Rather than driving revenue from a wide array of food and drink menu items in the shop, the revenue model for this type of business hinges on selling extraordinary whole roasted coffee beans for home consumption by discerning customers and wholesale to selected higher-end specialty coffee shops. Because the cornerstone of this business model is finding, roasting, and presenting the highest quality specialty coffees possible, these businesses are mostly investing in specialty coffee beans graded 85 points and higher. Since every specialty coffee bean has its own unique personality, the roaster needs to develop a custom roast profile that is specific to each coffee, that more often than not falls into the range of a medium to light roast profile. This explains why your manually brewed specialty coffee beverage tends to have a lighter tint and looks more brown, red, or orange in color rather than black. But it will be sweet, balanced, surprising, and interesting. To roast coffee this way, well and consistently, requires using advanced roasting technology and techniques, and a clear roasting goal, defined by an experienced roaster who uses his or her discerning palate to create a profile that expresses the coffee's highest potential. If it has a coffee shop, it's more a means for customers to try all their coffee beans, precisely prepared using various manual methods of extraction in a way that highlights each coffee's unique essence in their simplest and purest form. But it's not the focus of their revenue model. This passion-driven business model does not initially translate to mass appeal. Instead, it relies on a more niche market of customers that is steadily grown through knowledge sharing and personalization. So these are two of the core general business models in specialty coffee that we believe are the most prevalent in the developed world. As you observe your own local specialty coffee shop, you may notice that its business model is a combination of the various elements of these two basic models. Interestingly, in coffee-producing countries, there is another business model emerging, where a handful of specialty coffee shops and roasteries are being supported by their own coffee-producing fincas. This, of course, shapes their objectives in slightly different ways from what we described above, and is something that will be interesting to see how it develops over time. Don't miss the fourth and final video in this series, where we'll be talking about our own business, what kind of specialty coffee we're focused on, and how we see ourselves fitting into these various business models.